Welcome, lore enthusiasts! I'm your host, Embryonic Stories, and welcome to Stories of the Scrolls. Today, we'll discover the story of the 10 races and their similarities to civilizations in our real world. This topic was requested by Smoking Gun Studios. I'll put a link to his channel in the description below. Thanks, mate. I owe you one. Let's start off with the Nords, the race that most of us are familiar with. The Nords of Skyrim were first known as the Admorans, the humans living on the northern continent of Admora who came to Skyrim because Admora has now become uninhabitable because of the freezing temperatures. The civilization that is closest to the Nords are the Vikings. The Vikings in our own world lived in the northern parts of the world and went on raids first south like England, Germany and France. Also, the building style is really similar. The roofs with dragon-like decorations, or a roof that's like an upside-down ship, like your Vaska, the home of the companions. Also, the culture of the Nords is similar to the Vikings, fighting for glory and Valhalla with the Vikings, and fighting for glory and Sovngarde with the Nords. Imperials. The Imperials of Cyrodiil, the province that holds the most powerful fighting force on all of Tamriel. The architecture, the names of the people, and the ranks in the Imperial Legion all reminds me of the Romans in our history. It's very Mediterranean. Just look at the ranks in the Roman Legion: auxiliary, quaestor, praefect, tribune, and legate. These ranks are almost exactly the same as the ranks in the Imperial Legion, only general is not a rank in the Roman Legion. The command that the general has is carried by the legate in the Roman Legion. Now looking at the architecture, it's also similar. It's kind of Mediterranean building style, except in Bruma. Especially if we look at Rome and the Imperial City, you see the resemblance on screen now. Red Guards, the Red Guards of Hammerfell. This race seems to have influences from different cultures. The architecture of most cities is close to the Ottoman Empire and other Muslim empires and countries. Also, the weaponry, like the curved scimitars, originated in our own world from the Arabians in North Africa mostly. Especially the border with High Rock reminds me of the European wars with the clans of North Africa. But then the rituals around death and burials is basically old Egyptian. The Red Guards mummify their dead and put them in large temples and put traps in those temples to prevent anyone from disturbing the peace of the dead. And disrespect for the dead also expands into necromancy. The Red Guards are not allowed by law to hurt any undead. But there's one group that's willing to fight the undead. This group is called the Ash'aba. A link to Imperial Knowledge's video about this group is in the description below. Bretons. The Bretons of High Rock, a hybrid race of elves and humans. They have a human appearance, but are magically gifted like the elves. The land of High Rock is a collection of feuding kingdoms, a close resemblance to Japan during the age of the samurai, but the architecture and names of the people are more like medieval Europe, mostly the Frankish kingdoms which were always warring with each other in the Middle Ages. Altmer. A lot of J.R.R. Tolkien influence here, but also, to put it simply, Imperial China with Western influences. The culture to honor your ancestors is very much the way it is in China. But in the superiority complex, especially with Thalmor in the 4th era, yeah. 1937 to 1945, anyone? Yeah, the one angry mustache man. It's obvious. Talking of Nazis, of course. The regime that the Thalmor set up, with elven supremacy over every other single race, is very much like Nazi Germany. Orsimer. Yorsmer, better known as Orcs, and my personal favorite nickname, Green Machines. This race lives in their mountain kingdom called Ursinium, deep in the mountains between Skyrim, High Rock and Hammerfell. They also have settlements in Skyrim most notably. And they are constantly harassed by the Bretons most times. They remind me of the Mongolians, living in tribes, not really having a home to call their own. It all points to the nomadic Mongolians, and also outcast populations anywhere in the world like the Kurds in eastern Turkey. Here's where the harassment comes back, because another angry mustached man is causing problems for them. That's politics, and I'm in Elder Scrolls channel, so I'm not gonna get into that. Argonians, the Argonians of Black March, or the lizard race of the southeast. A race that in the 4th era is governed by the Ansalil, a nationalistic and isolationist group that wants to bring Black March back to how it was before any other race or empire conquered it. This race reminded me most of the Mayans and the Aztecs. I base this opinion mostly upon the architecture of the stone pyramids that are built all over Black March and their connection to nature. Also the disconnect between their culture and the rest of Tamriel. Now Central America is very swampy and full of tropical rainforest, giving it even more connection to Black Marsh. Also the fact that no power, not even the Hordes of Oblivion, have ever successfully conquered it. That is very similar to Central America, because of the marshes and rainforest make it impossible for modern warfare to be waged there. And what about the slavery perpetrated by the Dunmer? Oh, look at the Spanish against the natives in Central America. Speaking of the Dunmer, they are up next. Dunmer. The Dunmer of the alien province of Morrowind, also known as the Dark Elves. They lived in Morrowind and have for a long time. They were there at the time before the Dwemer disappeared. Their culture reminds me of Mesopotamia and the Middle East, with the architecture especially, with the older buildings, and not to mention the Middle Eastern beards of the Dwemer. There is also a bit of Star Wars influence, mostly in the cultures of House Redrum with their towers and the houses of House Lalu. They give off a Tatooine vibe. Also, let me mention the Daedric ruins. The names for those sound very similar to the names of old Assyrian kings, like Sargon Cave is named after Sargon of Akkad. Bosmer. The Bosmer of Valenwood, also known as Wood Elves. They live in Valenwood, a place full of forest and moving trees in which they have built their cities. The culture is very similar to that of the Iroquois. The Morning War tradition of the Bosmer culture has its similarities to that of the Iroquois. In Iroquois, when a tribe member is killed, the wronged side takes the member of the opposing tribe, tortures them, and then assimilate them into the tribe, probably to keep the numbers even. In Bosmer culture, this was done for the cosmic order of things. And just like the Argonians, the Wood Elves are very much in harmony with nature, as seen with the Green Pact, which states that no Bosmer may hurt plants, and if they kill another Wood Elf, they have to cannibalize their kill. It's all very messed up. Khajiit. The Khajiit are cat people. This race lives in Elsewhere, and they are known for producing moon sugar and skooma, which most are addicted to, it seems. And further, they are an enigma to me personally. So if this is short, that's why. Anyway, they remind me of the Persian and Indian culture. The architecture is more like Indonesia, and anyone who has visited both places can tell you. But the temples are exactly Buddhist, like the Taj Mahal in India or the Bagan in Burma. Then the language of the Khajiit, Ta'agra, is very close to Romani, the language of the Romani people of course, but they are most commonly known as Gypsies. Also the Khajiit caravan makes you feel the Gypsies or Romanis, which is in line with the Persian Indian vibe since most of the Romani originated from that part of the world. That was the story of the 10 races and their similarities to our own civilizations. If you enjoyed this video, a like would be very much appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't, and let me know what topic you would like to learn about in the comments below. Until we meet again, lore enthusiasts, Talos guide you.